So this was the headlines today. Stock market today, China, U.S. discuss extending trade truce. And so basically Trump's trying to get a meeting with President Xi over in China so he can take pictures, shake hands, get more Instagram photos, that kind of thing. Let's see what Lednick has to say about what's going on.
But of course, from their perspective, no one's moved as fast as the world has moved with respect to Donald Trump. He has moved the world in a way that no one can imagine. He's done this in 6 months. This is amazing. And I am, as you can tell, I'm having the best time working for Donald Trump.
We're out of time, but
wow, it's so amazing. And Lednick's having a good time. This is Trump and his kids. They're opening up a golf course. They say grand opening of the golf course. I say grand opening of corruption. I mean, it's obviously open corruption here. You're using the presidency to host state events. You're going to, profit off all these things. And it's frankly ridiculous. If you want to understand what's going on, how could this happen in the USA? Just remember, people like TV. Trump is entertaining, and Trump wants to make the TV show. This is just a big reality TV show. The next guest on his reality TV show is he wants to get President Xi from China and trying to get a meeting with that so he can have shake hands and do the Instagram thing. Trump is denying he wants a meeting with China, though. But listen to this. This is from Trump. The fake news is reporting that I am seeking a summit with President Xi of China. This is not correct. I bet. I am not seeking anything. I may go to China, but it would be only at the invitation of President Xi, which has been extended. Otherwise, no interest. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So I'm pretty sure Trump really wants that meeting. He really wants to shake hands with President Xi. And he always claims all the time that he has the best relationship, etc. Listen to statements from Greer and Besant on what's going on with that meeting.
Did you discuss a potential summit between the Chinese and U.S. the Chinese president and President Trump? And can you give us any timeline on what you're thinking about in terms of that?
No, the only thing we discussed was there was a recent phone call between the two leaders. On that call, President Xi invited President Trump to Beijing, but we didn't discuss that at all. What we discussed was implementing the desire of the two leaders for the trade team and the Treasury team to have trade negotiations with our Chinese counterparts. So our meetings were just to implement the will of the leaders, not to discuss if there would be a meeting.
Can you just give a time? When was that call? Do you have it on there?
I think that was the June call, right?
Yeah, was it?
It was June 4th or 5th.
June 4th or 5th.
Thank you.
So all you have to know about this is like, hey, Trump really, really wants a meeting with Xi. What's going on with that? And look at Greer's face. Greer's the guy on the right. So the TV show is crazy. This is also what's going on. This is the Trump people. They're suing, I guess, Amazon, eBay, Walmart. They're really, really angry that other people are selling Trump merchandise, because remember, the Trump people, they want to profit off the presidency as much as possible. This is a real headline. The controversial legal tactic the Trump organization is using to take down fake merch. Oh God, what is this about? And this wouldn't be a problem if you weren't out trying to sell crap all the time, be it your gold shoes, red hats, Christmas ornaments, whatever. And they really do sell Christmas ornaments. I'm not making it up. Or whatever nonsense you're trying to sell. Bibles, right? This is what it says. A lawsuit filed last week claims online sellers on platforms like eBay, Amazon, and Walmart are hawking goods that infringe on the Trump organization's trademark. Here's a quote. Defendants designed the online marketplace accounts to appear to be selling genuine Trump products while selling inferior imitation of such products. You usually don't have these problems because most people don't try to do this crap, but there's that. You also got this in the headlines, and yes, I do see this stuff. I just don't concentrate nonstop, but if you want to find that stuff in other channels, there's plenty of that. But Ghislaine Maxwell offers to testify before Congress on Jeffrey Epstein if she is pardoned. Wow. I'm not sure where they're going to go with that. That's an interesting one, right? Pardon her, send her before Congress, and then have her say like, I take the fifth, I take the fifth, I take the fifth. And if you're from another country and don't know, that's just basically for us, hey, we're not going to incriminate ourselves. We're not going to make ourselves look guilty. We're just going to be quiet. I don't know. I don't know how that will play out. I want to hear your thoughts on this one, but that's probably the big news of the day on other places. But I just want to go over everything, not just the Epstein stuff nonstop. But yes, I do see it. Trump is commenting on what he wants to do about his TV show and his new set. Have a listen to this.
In the White House, as you know, for 150 years, they've wanted to have a ballroom. They don't have a ballroom. They have meeting rooms. They have those beautiful, you've interviewed me in those rooms.
Yes.
But they have beautiful meeting rooms, but they never had a ballroom. A ballroom meaning someplace they could sit 600 or 700 people.
Yes.
If the president of China or France or UK or Ursula
Yes.
comes to town, you give them a big state dinner. We don't have a room like that. At the White House, they have to use a tent.
So I guess today at the White House, we just are using tents, and Trump's going to save us from tents, and we're all going to have big ballrooms so we can have President Xi come, and we'll have this big TV show production and whatever. That they literally tell you who they are every day, and it's sad that if people don't pick up on this, but that's what it is.
The question is that the Financial Times reported that the president of Taiwan was declined permission to transit New York, which is something that the Chinese would have wanted from the U.S. government. Was that done to help smooth the deal with the Chinese?
Yeah, and I want to go back for
Sure.
On because the August 1st is important.
So you can see that was a complete dodge. So the question was, was it president of Taiwan wanted to land in New York, and I guess he was denied landing. I'm not sure where he landed, but I guess it wasn't New York, wasn't USA. And then the question is, did China pressure you to essentially not let him land? And then that was the answer. They basically just dodged and just didn't answer. It was pretty interesting. I'm pretty sure that's part of the negotiations. I wouldn't doubt it. Homeland Security. America has been invaded by criminals and predators. What you need to get them out. Join ICE. America needs you. So I would agree that certainly there are criminals and predators in the White House. I would totally agree with that. And I'll let you guys decide if you want to join ICE. I would say stay away from ICE. That's my opinion. But America does need you. So I agree. This is also what they're saying here. They're saying that you're getting 150 billion in tariff revenues. Look how rich you are. This is how they gaslight you. Basically, they're raising taxes on you, American importers, right? American consumers are going to pay more to Trump's taxes so that he can funnel it into his AI and crypto scams and always act like you're all getting rich. And they put these money emojis, etc. So there's that. And they're also saying never tired of winning. And they showed Trump dancing. It's this wild TV show. But this is actually some of the big news of the day. The EPA, this is coming from Fox, so I want to see how they portray it. EPA unveils plans to revoke Obama-era climate endangerment finding and basically they roll back everything that the EPA is doing, protecting you. And it's sad because some people are like, if you're on Fox News, like, oh, Obama. Oh, I hate Obama. Let's just get everything that Obama did because Obama bad, right? People actually believe that crap. It's crazy. But just from a regular human perspective, I'm pretty sure if you rephrase it and just say, hey, would you like clean air and would you like clean water? The average person's like, yeah, I like clean air and clean water. So that's what it's about. Trump people want to eliminate that as quickly as possible. Guys, this is the news here in Korea. And I know it feels like the American news, lays over and plays dead sometimes, or, why don't politicians fight back against Trump? Well, in Korea, this is our main news. SBS, there's 3 big networks. This is one of the big networks. Look at the photo they're using of Trump. Like, look how they're portraying Trump. This tells you all you need to know, right? Usually the Korean news wouldn't do something like this, but the crazy stuff that Trump's doing on a daily basis is just so out of bounds. And they even put together this piece showing Trump talking. And I want to show you guys this. Watch how they edit it. It's very interesting.
It's not very important for our country, but it's very meaningful for the country on the other side. And I'll let them have that point. It's very important for them. You have 200 countries, more. And I wouldn't want to sit down with 200 people who have to deal the way I think. He was calling me all the time. We want this. We got to have that. But we've made the big ones. We just finished Indonesia. We just finished Japan. They opened up their country. Japan opened up the country. They were totally closed. They opened up to our cars, even to rice. Rice was a big deal. I'd love to see China open up their country. But we're dealing with China right now.
They're saying like how negotiations have 3 days left, right? And that's China there. and then now they'll show Trump more.
The South Koreans flew to Scotland to meet with me and Ambassador Greer after dinner. I mean, think of how much they really want to get a deal done.
Not sure I really want to do them. You know, you want somebody that.
And if you see there, they're showing Lutnick just like laughing. And so what they're doing is and it's true, but I'm just showing you what they're doing though. But what they're doing, they're just showing you what Trump says of how he is arrogant, how they downplay the wants and the needs of other countries, how they're ruining relationships, and basically then laugh at you and be a bully. And so this, it's, I'm saddened and proud at the same time. I'm saddened that this is where America's at right now, that they're run by crooks. I mean, it's obvious. It's obvious. But I'm also proud that, not everyone is falling for it, right? That image right there tells you all you need to know. And every country has a different history. Here in Korea, I recommend this movie. It's called 1987. You'll understand sort of why the Korean media is doing this. It's because we had this history of having dictators before in the past, and ultimately, a free press and free speech is extremely important, and you want to participate in your democracy. So there's that. So watch that movie if you haven't seen it. I want to give you some more points of view. This is actually coming from Europe. Listen to what they have to say.
I don't think anybody can call it a good deal. It was maybe the only possible deal. It's the deal we have. The question is, of course, how will it be implemented? Can we trust that this is it? Or there will be maybe new tariffs coming next week or in a month?
That the uncertainty plays a huge role here as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very well. We needed to have a deal because of the uncertainty, and 15% is certainly better than 30%, but 15% is still much more than the 3.5–4% we had 4 months ago. So it's not a good deal, but it is maybe the only possible one.
So in Europe, right, that's sort of been a talk. It wasn't really a good deal at all. However, we're just trying to get some certainty, and then we'll try to work out the details later. And that's what you have to deal with. And the problem is, from Trump's point of view, he's painted this whole thing as like, we have to find, winners, winning deals, and we got to just show those loser countries how to do business. But honestly, if you want to do business the right way, you develop mutual beneficial agreements. You develop long-lasting partnerships, right? If you understand how Trump does business, he has a history of bankruptcies. He has a history of not paying workers. He has a history of cheating people, etc. And we all know the history. The sad thing is there's this small group of people in the USA, the MAGAs, who maybe don't know the history or overlook the history, or they're just blinded by, Trump flies around in a plane with his name on it, therefore he must be awesome. And it's sad to see this, but I'm just laying it out there that if you can see the corruption, like literally open corruption, you're not alone. That's why we go through this stuff every day and give the details and sort of what's going on in the news, etc. So it's good to hang out together, and I do appreciate you guys hanging out. Now I want you to see Besant talking about Greer, who's the U.S.'s trade rep, and see how they're basically actors and carry around props. Have a listen to this.
He knows all the particulars on tariffs, on trade, on he walks around. It's a great prop. It's probably 2 times, 3 times bigger than the old New York City phone book, but it's the non-tariff trade barriers of all the countries. So you can put that down on the table and say, okay, let's go through them.
And so he carries around this prop of this big book. It's like, okay, this is how you're cheating us. Pfft, let's just fix these things. But it's all a sham, though. That's what it is. Let's see what more of that to say.
And even the European Commission president, you heard what she said. I thought it was very telling. She goes, look, I know this is awful for us. It's the best I could get. I'm trying to salvage something. So I think that indicates, and I don't want to be too jingoistic or America first, but to me that indicated that the president was able to get a pretty good deal.
Exactly right. The president knew how far he could go, and he went exactly that far. The thing about our president is he's got that intuitive nature when he's sitting across the table and making a deal. He knows how far he can push it. I mean, imagine they committed to $750 billion of energy purchases, natural gas and oil and nuclear, during his term. They committed $600 billion of companies investing in America, and then 15% tariffs. They will pay.
So essentially, though, all of this is smoke and mirrors, and more people are calling it out. Have a listen to when they say, hey, maybe these numbers aren't really going to be real. What do you say?
Well, that's coming from private sector companies. We don't really have any control over that, so we can't enforce it on our end. Does the U.S. have any guarantee that that $600 billion is real and is actually going to happen?
Well, I think that's going to be closely monitored. I think President Trump believes that this is a good deal. I mean, on paper, this is the deal of the century, and I would be surprised over time if the EU doesn't hold up their end of the.
So if you listen to it, they're like, well, on paper, it's the deal of the century, right? But the question is, like, when the EU makes whatever quote deal, you're talking about various companies, private money. Can you just tell companies, oh, you have to invest here and you have to invest there? Of course not. That's why all this whole thing is a sham.
And they have said that they can't promise that these pretty hefty expectations for purchases and investment, those massive targets, whether they'll be able to hit them or not, because they're relying in large part, on private funding. There's still a lot to work out. They've said that sometimes these agreements usually will take years. Do you think that will be the case here?
Well, historically, these kind of agreements would take a decade. and they, of course, wouldn't come to fruition, right? Barack Obama spoke to them for his whole term and never got anything accomplished. President Trump works on a different time frame.
Right, so they just laugh it off. Oh, well, normally it take years, but we have Trump, right? It's all a sham. That's why I have to show you guys this stuff, because honestly, I actually see comments from Trumpers and they'll say, oh, Chris, you're so dumb. Trump's bringing in trillions of dollars. And I'm just like, okay, so where's the money? Where's that job that Trump has promised you, right? He's bringing in trillions and trillions, right? Do you understand this? So just ask people just really basic questions if you're talking to a Trumper, okay? So where's the money? Is it in your bank account, right? And so when you see this stuff, you're like, okay, it's definitely a sham. That's why you want to pick on this stuff. These people are total fraudsters.
The Vietnam deal that the president announced earlier in July, I don't think we've seen confirmation, or at least I haven't, as I sit here now, from the Vietnamese government of that deal. Did we get confirmation from the Vietnamese government? Do we have an agreement with them on paper?
I didn't work on that deal, but I assume that we do. Because we've also done.
I didn't work on that deal, but I assume that we do. And he's like, do we have any paper? And I haven't seen any papers. That's been the reporting. There's no confirmations or papers on this stuff. That's why it's smoke and mirrors. You got to call them out. And then they actually give some inside look of how negotiations go with China, which is really interesting. Listen to this.
A picture. How are these talks actually structured? What happens inside the room? Do you have sort of bullet points from both sides that each side agrees to bring up in advance? Does each side make a speech to each other? Bring us in the room.
Well, there's a lot of pregame, so a lot of preparation on both sides in terms of what do we want to talk about? What would we like to accomplish? With the Chinese, there were 75 of them in their delegation, 15 of us. Wow. We start out in a very large room, probably 12 or 15 on each side of the table. As you said, there tends to be a bit of speech reading. So there's a little back and forth on that. Then there's a discussion. We have various topics. But the real work gets done. We break down into smaller groups.
So if you're interested in, in business and international relations, it's actually quite fascinating to hear this stuff. So I think he was saying China brings a whole staff of people, like 75 people, and the USA brings like 15. It shows you the vast differences in preparation that's been going on in staffing. I think the USA is shorthanded. They're trying to negotiate with several countries all at the same time. They can't even go to all said meetings. And that's why, going back to say the Korean attacks on Trump of Trump's basically, oh, I'm just going to send you a letter, or I can't possibly talk to 200 countries all at the same time. But the whole thing is ridiculous. That's why we're showing these people are completely incompetent. You wouldn't want to declare a global trade war against all the other countries in the world. Of course you wouldn't. It's ludicrous. Also want to mention this too. Before France, Australia, and Canada made statements on recognizing Palestine as a state. You can watch this talking about two-state solution. Today, the big news was the UK. I guess Starmer came out and made a statement, which I'll show you guys. I think this is a really big deal. Let's watch.
But ultimately, the only way to bring this humanitarian crisis to an end is through a long-term settlement. So we are supporting the US, Egyptian and Qatari efforts to secure a vital ceasefire. That ceasefire must be sustainable, and it must lead to a wider peace plan, which we're developing with our international partners. This plan will deliver security and proper governance in Gaza and pave the way for negotiations on a two-state solution. Our goal remains a safe and secure Israel alongside a viable and sovereign Palestinian state. But right now, that goal is under pressure like never before. I've always said that we will recognise a Palestinian state as a contribution to a proper peace process.
So I sincerely hope they find peace in the Middle East. Whenever we have any discussions, be it the markets, be it what's going on with Trump in various countries, or say in Gaza, I think a lot of us have more in common than not, and we need to find ways to work with each other. So that's my thoughts on this stuff. I truly hope there's peace, and we'll see what happens. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on any one of these things we talked about, and I'll catch you all in the next video.